so that was an interesting not 40k preview that they threw up over the weekend. Gotta love Games Workshop for saying we're going to do a non-40k preview. So here are some smaller Space Marines. Yes, although I am very excited by the new Bretonnian Standard Bearer that they've released for Warhammer the Old World, I am particularly excited by Legionis Imperialis, or New Epic, as I shall start calling it from now on. As you may have guessed from some of my earlier videos, I'm a big fan of the classic specialist games. I love Battlefleet Gothic, and I love Epic 40,000. That was a box set that I got as a kid, and I'm dead chuffed to see that they've re-released a new version of it to go with the Adeptus Titanicus and Aeronautica games that have been such a big success. One of the burning questions I had, though, was this. What scale are those Marines going to be? We know the Adeptus Titanicus scale is slightly bigger than the classic scale. So, for example, if you were to put an Adeptus Titanicus Warhound next to one of the classic Warhounds, there would be a noticeable size difference between the two. Just as an example, my Epic Warhound is on a 50mm base. Epic Warhounds now in Adeptus Titanicus come on an 80mm base. So, a big difference in that regard. Some clever person by the name of Ian Wood over from War Trader has put the effort in, and he's worked out what scale the Legionis Imperialis Marines are going to be. So, without further ado, I will briefly explain through their workings. As you can see, they've worked out that the Adeptus Titanicus Warhounds come on an 80mm base, so that is a known quantity from this box set. From there, a graded scale can be worked out for everything else. From that, they were able to work out that the new bases for the Marines are 25mm round, albeit they appear to be slightly thinner than the current 25mm rounds that we all use. However, that therefore gave a scale which could be used to work out a measurement for the rest of the models that are in the box set. And from that, they were able to work out, as you can see, that the Legionis Imperialis Marines clock in at 9.5mm tall. That is quite chunky. I mean, that is nearly a centimetre tall, which in epic scale is quite a big difference. But I'm not sure that it's not unworkable. If you're somebody like me who's already got a large collection of classic Epic 40,000 or Epic Armageddon Marines, I would suggest there is still nothing to suggest you from using some of the new Epic stuff that's going to be coming out alongside your classic. And to explain why, I'm going to demonstrate. So, as you can see, I have here some classic Epic Space Marines. And I need to work out, first of all, what scale these are. I have a vague idea, but it's always best to rely upon my trusty measuring device. Let's just fold that out. Classic Epic Space Marines then, not including the base, I would suggest clock in at about 6.5mm tall. So that is nearly two-thirds of the size of the new Legionis Imperialis Marines, which would suggest that putting the two of them on the same base next to each other is just going to look a little bit silly. However, Epic has never had, I would suggest, a degree of parity of scale. And to give you an example, I've got here a unit of Orc Nobs. Orc Nobs in Mega Armor. Rrr, Space Marines. Now, put them side by side and they look almost exactly the same size. But as you will recall, that is not the case when you take into account their 40k counterparts. A Marine is quite some considerable difference in size to a Mega Nob. Does that bother us when we play Epic? Not at all. Likewise, let me give you an example here. Here we have a Epic Scale Viper jet bike, Epic Scale Rhino. Now they would appear to be roughly the same size, and that would likewise seem to be the case. Back up a little bit. When you put the two 40k scale Marines models next to each other. But that becomes wildly different when we factor in a third model. The Epic Stomper. The Epic Stomper looks maybe 3 times the size of the Viper, but it only looks a little bit bigger than the Rhino. But the Rhino is almost as tall when you stand it on its edge as the Stomper. But that, as we know, is not the case when we take things to the 40k scale. I happen to have here, just for comparison purposes, one 40k scale top Stomper. And as you can see, it is considerably bigger than a Rhino. That doesn't prevent us from using any of those models in Epic though. And I would argue that that is exactly the same with the new Sector Imperialis. I'm going to keep calling it Sector Imperialis. That is exactly the same as with the new Legionis Imperialis. I would suggest there is nothing to stop you if you've already got an existing Marine army from adding some of the new vehicles in, for example, or adding some dreadnoughts, or even adding, you know, some Cataphractii Terminators or something that's going to mean that things look period appropriate, or if you just want to add some extra models to your existing Epic army. What I am hopeful for is this, and this is a bit of a breaking news element to this. Anybody who is a big fan of Aeronautica Imperialis, and there's a lot of wings with the word Imperialis in this, anyone who's a big fan of Aeronautica, a load of the Aeronautica models went on last chance to buy this week. In fact, quite a few of them have sold out already. So if you are an Aeronautica player, stop watching right now. Go to the website and buy anything that you're missing that you desperately want to get. Right, good, you're back. A whole bunch of the Xenos stuff has gone on last chance to buy and no longer available to order online. What we are boiling down to, it would seem, was just the bare bones Imperium stuff, like the Space Marine stuff that's going to be compatible with the Horus Heresy, like the Legionis Imperialis is, and also like the stuff that will be compatible with the Solar Auxilia. What I reckon might happen is if Legionis Imperialis is a success, then I am hopeful that we might see a reboxing of these. I would love, for example, to see an Adeptus Titanicus scale Orcs versus Eldar box out. Put it this way, if you guys at Games Workshop do that, I will pre-order it. I haven't got into Titanicus yet, but I will pre-order it the second it goes on order. Likewise, if that worked, then they were to segue into doing Legionis Imperialis, or Epic, New Epic, because it's easy to say, New Epic Eldar, New Epic Orcs. I would be right there to buy that, and I would hope that that might well be what would then happen with the reboxing of the Aeronautica stuff, is that stuff becoming available once again alongside new Epic scale stuff from the other Xenos races. But I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope you've at least enjoyed my general wibbling along the lines of what the scale is for the new Epic Mint Marines. Go out and check out Ian's War Trader page. Got some great blog posts on there about playing games of Epic, which, yeah, I enjoyed reading. In the meantime, come back on Friday for my report from the Badlands, my Old World campaign weekend, which happened this weekend just gone. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.